Okay, today we're going to talk about course settings within your course. First thing you're going to do here is you're going to go into the sign-in sheet and you will go to the course. So we're going to use the same example here. It's going to be algebra, and they're all very similar, if not the same. We're going to go into algebra 1B honors. So from this page and within the gradebook, you can change course settings. So right here in blue, and you'll find this throughout when things are in blue, they actually, if you roll your mouse over it, you'll see it actually, you can click and it will open another page. But course settings, we'll just go right to it. Again, can be found when you're go within the gradebook and click course settings. And this page pops up here, and there's a couple things here. You've got enforcing mastery-based learning. Again, our standard is 60%, and a number of reasons why we do 60. We've toyed around with 70%. The issue with the 70% passing threshold is that a lot of the quizzes will have 5 questions. So essentially, you have to get 4 out of the 5 correct to move on, which again is totally up to you. But we found that the 60% threshold is kind of the magic number. Whether a quiz or test or whatever is being assessed by Apex and self-graded, tends to be 5, 10, could be 15, sometimes 17 questions. So again, 60 seems to be a favorable number, 60%. As far as attempts on the quiz go, that's right here. And again, we found the magic number for us, and again, it's going to be up to you, has been 2. We've toyed around with 1 and 3. 1 seems to be too little. 3 attempts tends to be too much, and the reason is, as I showed in the previous video, that if a quiz has 10 questions, usually, and not all courses, especially the AP courses that we went through, but all of our core courses, for the most part, if it has 10 questions, a quiz, it'll have an A, B, and C question for each number. So again, that's like 30 questions in a bank that kind of randomly generates. You can see randomizing question order is something you can't really change. It's a program has already kind of made that mandatory. But again, 2 attempts seems to be a good number for students. So if a student doesn't pass a quiz the first time with a 60% or higher, they can go in and reset the quiz themselves. But if a student is not able to pass a quiz with a 60% or higher after taking it once, resetting it, and taking it again, so 2 attempts, a message comes up that says they should contact their teacher. Now, that's where you have to go in, and I made previous video on this, on how to reset a quiz. And you can give them a 3rd, a 4th attempt, but again, the general rule of thumb is 3 attempts is pretty much the most you should give a student. At that point, you would want to just move them on to the next section. So that's kind of how that goes. Looking over here at security settings, closed book assessment just essentially means that when a student is in a quiz, a test, anything that's say multiple choice or being self-graded by Apex, they can't get out of it once they start it. And again, if they do, a message will come up that says, essentially you're locked. You have to stay in this quiz. Now, that doesn't mean they can't open up different browsers or different tabs in a browser. But again, the closed book assessment, again, is something you can kind of choose to do or not. Again, I tend to keep it clicked. I like when they're taking tests, especially if it's in like a proctored testing center, that they are locked into that test, or even locked into the quiz to a certain extent. Again, we talked about randomizing order is already, you can't change that. That's program wide. They've randomized the order, which is a good thing. These 2 in the bottom are interesting ones. Show question feedback says essentially that after each question on a quiz, a test, so each question, it tells the student whether they got it right or wrong and gives them, says, great, you got that right or wrong. C is the correct answer. And again, that's up to you what you want to do with that. Some instructors don't want to give answer feedback. Again, some do. I tend to think, and this is just my personal opinion, that it's an opportunity for students to kind of fill in their notes, or gives them a point of reference to look further and just into things they may not have understood. So again, it's totally up to you. And you can see there's a more setting here, and you can click that, and it kind of explains certain things in detail, which this pops up here. Yeah, it'll kind of explain things into detail, and you can feel free to go in and look at that. And the last one, answer review. So allow answer review. And again, I tend to allow answer review on. I tend to turn it on. And what that means is that once a student is done with a quiz, so it's a 10 question quiz, they answer question 10, it pops up in the bottom essentially a whole drop down menu of each question, what the question was, whether they got it right, and if they got it wrong, it shows the correct answer. So essentially, it shows them all the questions in the quiz, and whether they got it right or wrong, and if they got it wrong, answer gives them the feedback below the question. And again, I think there's advantages and disadvantages to that. That's totally up to you as an instructor what you want to do. So then that wraps up course settings.